Doing the hinge replacement, first I want to show you how to turn the computer off here at the battery using a paper clip. Broken hinge. This is actually going to involve the top cover and the hinge. Probably the bezel too, but I can super glue the bezel or replace it, either one. I'll actually start down here on the bottom. First, you remove the 4 pads, which are already gone. I'm going to remove the 9 long screws from the bottom. Alright, now I got those screws removed. I'm going to take off this hinge cover plastics. I like to get it, oh, it's broken too, but I can glue that if I want or replace it. That's it. Yeah, it's missing all the bottom catch pieces, so I'll have to replace it. In order to separate the bottom, there's lots of little hooks, not the square rectangle pieces, but the hooks. So you just have to pop those open. Grip it here, take off one side, like that. Usually check these clips to see if they're broken. They aren't, so I get to keep this one. I'm going to go ahead and take out the motherboard because I have to get out this wire that's right under here. So that'll be 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got those 4 screws taken out. Pull this, which is the speakers. Take out the keyboard. Remove the battery connection. Go ahead and pop up the mouse. Take off both of the antenna. This is the charging port. Lastly, motherboard. Careful to hold it only by the edges. Try not to touch any of the component parts. I'm going to go ahead and take out the battery too, just because it'll be easier to get the motherboard back in later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. That allows me to remove the battery. Next, I'm concentrating on these 4 screws that are holding the hinge on. These have a flat top and they're a long screw. Take those 4 out. Okay, so I got those 4 screws removed. Go ahead and take this antenna wire, just pull it out gently there, lay it aside. Replacing that when I replace the top cover. Take the monitor wire and the other antenna wire out on the other side. I can lift this up. I have to support this hinge down here that's broken, so we can get it out of there. Well, there it is. Take my pliers, clip onto the back of that so I can unscrew these 3 screws. I can use them on my new hinge, like so. Now that I got that done, I'm going to go ahead and lift this up, and that releases the keyboard from my hinge that's remaining. Of course, that one's gone. Set my keyboard aside because it's still in good shape. Pop the top off. You can use your splunger to get under here and work your way around. I just use my fingernails. I'm replacing this piece anyway, but yeah, no. This is where the bezel was held on by tape, so I'm going to have to retape this. Covers up the control board of the monitor. Put that real quick. And you can see that it's ripped the screw catches completely out of the top case, so I have to replace the top case. In order to do that, I'm going to start by taking out the 4 screws on the edge of the monitor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I got that done. Okay. Lift the monitor up, detach it here by pulling the little gate down, detaching it, setting it aside. Now we've got to take this camera off. Unhook it here, and pry it forward off of this piece. There's your camera and microphone. Set that aside because we need it. Down here on the bottom is a little transfer board. We're going to need that, so it's got a little gate that flips up. And then actually use 2 fingers. There it pops up. I need this monitor cable. The whole monitor cable has to come off. Use it again. Gently remove that until I get down. I gotta take off this hinge now. I'm gonna remove these 3 screws and the top screw from the hinge and remove that. So pull this hinge out. Got my good hinge, set him aside. Got my good monitor cable, hopefully it's still good. Put it up there. Pretty much done with this top case, just need this screw. So I'm going to start rebuilding it now with my new top case. Alright, I got my brand new top case. Save this piece of tape. Get rid of these covers that come with on the ends of your antenna wires. I'm going to go ahead and put back the camera, the wiring, and the transfer board first. So I'll start with the camera, lift the gate. Slide it onto this blue piece, put the gate down, put it over the 2 little holes that hold it in place. It should still have enough sticky to stick to its grounding piece there. Get my wire here, that's my monitor cable. Go ahead and put it on here. Flip the gate down, slide it over the 2 posts. There's some lines here on the case to show you where this wire is supposed to go. It goes threaded through here, around our old hinge spot. This is why I saved that piece of tape, because if you can see it, but I like to put the piece of tape over these 2 wires before I try and put the hinge back so that they won't jump up and get caught by the hinge. So this actually slides in like this. So you can see, but your 2 wires coming out the bottom of the hinge, and then they'll go over the post. So after you've threaded your wire through here, you're going to put in 3 short screws on the hinge and 1 up here at the top. Okay, so I got that hinge replaced. I'm going to get my new right hinge out. Pretty much the same process on this side. So this is going to come over it. Just slip down into a spot there. 4 small screws, 3 down here, 1 up here at the top. While we're on the subject, you want all of your screws to be tight, but not over tightened. They'll just rip the holder right out of there. Right, so now I got all my hinges put back, put the monitor back in. It has its 4 screws that need to go back. They're also short screws. Alright, time to put the bezel back on. You gotta dip these wires so they won't be crushed by the bezel when you clip it back on, and you want to make sure that this monitor cable is down inside the track and won't be smashed by these little posts that stick up. I'm going to use a new bezel. You could glue yours back together, work just fine. Just start at the bottom here so I know that my wires aren't getting clipped. Oops. Take my little plastics off the adhesive. Like so. Now I'm going to clean the monitor real quick. Looks a little better. Now I just clean it with glasses cleaner, the same thing you use on your glasses if you happen to wear them. Going back to our keyboard. So hinges are sitting here, kind of popped up a little bit. Just take that keyboard, slide it in there. I usually hang it over the desk for this part. So my hinges are right here. Get my 4 long screws with flat tops. And there's actually 2 little arrows on the hinge that show you where your 2 screws are going to go. The 3rd screw will come through the case, the bottom case later. Now I got all 4 of my screws in. Go ahead and close the Chromebook. I'm going to route my wire. So it's pretty easy to see where it goes. It comes up here, around that, on the bottom side of this post, and then under these, all the way to here. The plunger helps with this too. This plunger. I don't normally work it at this angle, but that's the hardest spot right there. Ta-da! And then the black one, bring it in, stick it under there too. Monitor cable, put that on top of those. Ready to put our motherboard back in. So we got to get a hold of these. Be careful with this headphone jack. Put it in. So go ahead and put in my 4 motherboard screws. They go only in the places that have the washers. I got my 4 motherboard screws, which again are the short screws. Go ahead and put my monitor cable back on. Slide it up in there. You gotta make sure it clips on both corners. And the black antenna wire goes there. And my gray or white antenna wire there. Go ahead and cut my power. It's got gold on the top and nothing on the bottom. It just pops straight down onto the board there. This is my mouse. Flip the little gate up, slide it up to the line, pop it in, put my keyboard back on. Its gate down, and the speakers hook up. The gold part of these goes down, slides in there. Sometimes I put an extra piece of tape here because you really don't want these speaker cables to get over top of this post, or you'll screw into them later with the top case. I'm going to put my battery back in. I like to take it from the bottom and slide it up so it pushes that keyboard wire up out of the way. So I put in my 6 short screws. I'm going to hook my battery back up to the motherboard. Again, the gold's on the top, there's nothing on the bottom, and you want to push straight down so you don't break the little clips. Everything's put back. Monitor, antenna, keyboard, mouse, battery. It's time to put the bottom case cover back on. So I'm going to go ahead and test the computer now. If you've shut the computer down using the paper clip to get it back to come back on, you have to use the power supply. Once it's plugged in, then the computer will come back on. Monitor is working correctly. It is. So go ahead and put my bottom 9 long screws into the bottom case. Alright, I got my bottom 9 screws back in. This one didn't have any feet on it, so I don't have to worry about replacing those. Just leaves my hinge cover. I'm using a new one. You could re-glue yours. They break all the time right there in the corner anyway. I start here, push those 2 down, then I got to make sure that the LED comes through this hole. Do one end, do the middle, and the other end last. There you go. Hinge cover, hinge, everything replaced. Computer's up, running, ready to go.